Have you ever stopped to consider maybe who designed the building? Or if you've ever thought about maybe who your favorite architect is, because I know we all have favorite musicians and favorite authors, but architects design and create space much the same way other artists do. And today I'd like to talk to you about my favorite architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. He is a very important contemporary architect, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about his rural upbringing, his personal life, and the legacy that he left behind, because like we all know, you know, famous creatives aren't easy people always to deal with, and Frank Lloyd Wright was certainly no exception. So, now that I've told you a little bit about what I'm going to tell you about, let me dive right into my speech. Frank Lloyd Wright was born in rural Wisconsin. His family was very poor. They were farmers. His parents actually divorced when he was 14 years old. He dropped out of high school pretty soon after that. And that's sort of where like the personal hardships developed. He wasn't a very good student, and he experienced a lot of personal tragedy later on in his adult life. He was married 3 times. He left one of his wives, and then the woman who he left his wife for was murdered along with 7 others, and the building that they worked down was burned down. Now that I've told you a little bit about his personal life, I'm going to tell you about his exploits as an architect. Like I said before, he wasn't a very good high school student, and it wasn't until he dropped out that he sort of developed this love for architecture, which got him to go back to school, where he eventually graduated from the University of Madison, Wisconsin. Frank Lloyd Wright is known for creating all kinds of public spaces, courthouses, buildings like houses and libraries, and museums as well. Some of the more famous buildings maybe that you've heard of by him are the Guggenheim Museum in New York and the Marin County Civic Center in Marin County, California, as well. Now that I've talked to you a little bit about the buildings that he's made, I would like to talk to you about the legacy that he's left behind. The Met Museum in Brooklyn, which is actually across the street from the Guggenheim, has preserved Frank Lloyd Wright's personal living room. So there is an exhibition and actually a whole space in the museum where you can go and see his personal architecture and some of his drawings. A lot of the buildings that he has designed are very seriously protected. There's all kinds of codes and regulations about building around them, next to them, and the preservation of the buildings themselves. His drawings are studied constantly. His style of architecture is taught in schools. It's safe to say that he's left an important legacy in the architectural world. And now that I've explained to you a little bit about who he is and why he's so cool, I hope that you can take a moment maybe just to Google him and appreciate some of the work that he's done. Thank you very much.